Hey everybody, we are back here. Steeltoes to Stilettos. We are back with another amazing episode. And I must say, this episode is aligned and right on time. I am always trying to deliver you guys with something impactful, something that you can take away from. You understand what I'm saying? So let's get right to it. Let me introduce, let's not go no further. My guest for today, my childhood friend, Miss Ebony Maddrey, with all the initials at the end. She can give you all the initials and she can explain to you what they mean. But yes, let's clap it up for her. She's in the studio with us. Yay. Hey, Ed.
Hey, girl.
Thank you for being here with me today.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks for having me.
Sure, absolutely. You already know. And I'm excited about today's episode. Ab actually came to me with this topic. She enlightened me with this topic because, I told her, we had a conversation. I want to be able to, hit the different. I need to meet people where they are, and we are in different places, different spaces, and you guys already know we are still in the first month of the new year, and we are still participating in the Pause Reverse Drive 30 Days of Rebuild campaign. And it's all about moving with grace and intention and not pressure. And sometimes that's hard to do because our mind is all over the place. We don't physically feel well. We might not even mentally feel well. We might be groggy, gray, feeling lazy, unproductive, and we don't really understand, what's going on. And for us to move to that drive after we pause and reverse and move to drive, we have to really learn and understand what our body is going through and what our body is telling us and what our mind is saying. And if we don't know, we just don't know.
Right.
So that's why I have the professional in here with us on today so we can get to it. And today's episode is all about women and ADD.
Okay.
Women and ADD. Like, when you brought that to me, Eb, I'm like, the light bulb went off, and I'm like, yes, because guess what? I feel like I suffer from, ADD, from ADD all my life, not even knowing that what is going on. So when you said that's a good topic, I was like, let's do it. It's right on time. And I know a lot of you guys out there can relate. And we're talking about women with ADD, but this is a humanistic thing. This is a people thing. Even though we are saying women, this is a people thing, and I know everybody can relate.
Yes. Yeah. So I agree. I think that it is such an important topic to highlight, especially in the Black community. I feel like other races get a pass for having attention deficit disorder, and then if you throw the hyperactivity into it as well, like that's a whole nother level. But just kind of going back to our original conversation and how so many times, especially as young girls, young women, women, it's kind of frowned upon or it's misdiagnosed a lot. We're viewed as it could be that we're lazy, that we're inattentive, that we are aggressive even, right? When really it's just that we have this attention deficit thing going on that we don't really get treated for early on in life because we're always told to push through. Push through. You got it. Multitask, right? Remember, like, going back to human service classes, right? Like, multitasking was always something. It was like a badge of honor. Are you able to multitask? And now that we're getting older, it's like multitasking, that takes a lot of brain work. You know what I mean? It's exhausting to constantly pivot and then constantly switch from one thing to the next. And then when you can't get your brain to slow down, it's like, what do we do with that?
Oh my goodness. And I'm just sitting here like, because we live it. Like, as you're talking, and we actually live in a world where we are constantly, especially females, especially women, we multitask like a motherfucker. It's all right. We multitask like crazy. Like, I feel like in a day, it is absurd how many things we do. If we start from the moment that we get up, from the time that we lay our head down, it is absurd how many things we do, how many roles, how many hats we wear.
And then add on your partner, your spouse, your children, your parents, the work stuff, all of the people in between at work, and then
Yes, it's a lot. So we already know that multitasking and trying to find the balance in multitasking can sometimes be a symptom of, ADD. Trying just staying on task, staying focused, paying attention. That's the one thing that comes to my mind. Probably one of the one and only three things that come to mind when I think about ADD.
okay.
What are some other symptoms of ADD that people, might not even realize is attention deficit disorder?
I always use the example, like, imagine being on the phone with your girlfriend and y'all are talking and you might start folding laundry and then you might find yourself in the kitchen making coffee or starting your dinner. Then you might be like, oh shoot, I left this thing upstairs, and you run upstairs. Then you come back and then it's like, you know what, let me run the vacuum. And then it's, oh, you need help with your homework, da 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 da, And so when you are just kind of bouncing around with no real direction, the intention is there, right? But then when you look around, when it kind of spirals, I like to use that example. Once it spirals, you look around and you have all of this stuff that's unfinished.
You started but didn't complete.
Right. And in your mind, you're like, okay, I can do X, Y, and Z. So I may have washed 3 loads of laundry and folded one, but then let's say that's on Sunday. Wednesday, that laundry is still sitting there, right? I might have started doing the dishes. Am I drying them and putting them away? Or is it that I do half of them, I start doing something else, now I got to do the dishwater all over again? And so
Right.
it's simple
Right.
things like
It's
that.
like moving 2 steps forward to take 2 steps back, to take 1 step forward to take another step back. So,
Yeah.
and then that just creates another level of stress or anxiety.
Yeah, because now that's one more thing that I have to get done.
Not, right. That you didn't put off on top of everything that you're adding on. Because as soon as you take off one thing, another thing gets added.
Exactly.
Another thing gets added. So let's just first of all differentiate the difference between ADD and ADHD.
Okay, so ADD is simply just having attention deficit disorder, right? I have a hard time staying focused and completing things through to finish, right? ADHD is attention deficit hyperactive disorder, right? And so when you think about the bouncing, the fidgeting, and like kind of moving at fast speed, we all know people that just move, and you be looking at them like, "Girl, sit down,"
Yes,
But
yes.
there could be some of that, and I know we joke a lot about stuff, especially as Black women, and we'll always just be like, "Oh, that's just a symptom of my ADD," or "Oh, my ADHD is in overdrive," right? But then nothing is being done about it, because we've never been given the pass. Like, I feel like boys are diagnosed extremely early,
Right.
right? But a lot of that is just the male energy too. So he's a boy. He is going to be bouncy. He is going to have a hard time. But for a girl to be bouncy,
It's
she's
like
being defiant,
right.
you know?
And then it's almost looked at as, shameful or, in a judgmental type of space. Um, and then another thing that was unique about this, um, we talk about it as adults. We might say it lightly, but we
Yeah.
know we're serious because now that we're older, we know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yes,
We
yes,
can,
yes.
especially if we're behavior science majors. We are behavior science people. This is our background. So we look at everything from a different lens and a different
Yes.
perspective anyway, right? So as an adult saying, oh, I started the laundry and I went downstairs to take the throw something in the trash and then started doing something else. And then we as adults, we're mature enough and we have enough attention span to be like, okay, let me stop and go back and finish. Some of us anyway. And that's what
Yeah.
we're trying to help. The point is we're trying to help those who can't get themselves back on track. But as adults versus kids, because that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
We always talk about ADD and kids. Oh, he needs to be diagnosed. Oh, he
Yes.
might need some strategies and therapies. And then if that don't work, maybe he needs to be on Vyvanse and all that kind of stuff like that. So for me, having a child care center,
You see it all day.
for me, having a child care center, I definitely see it all day, and we're definitely always observing and assessing, right? And it's always a normal conversation for children.
Right.
But now that we are on the couch talking about it as adults, trying to figure out as adults, this is different.
It is.
This is very
But
different.
I also feel like just with the age of social media too, right? People are more aware. People are kind of going to Dr. Google, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
okay, this is what I'm experiencing, blah, blah, blah. And, medicine is always, especially again, culturally, right? Medicine is always the last resort.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
we never just jump right
Into
into
medication, yes.
medication. And so, again, going back to our conversation, like here we are going into like midlife, right? And so it's like now we have more women acknowledging that, okay, I can't sustain this, right? When we're younger, okay, I could be on go. I can multitask. Like I'm a beast at multitasking. But then you get to the point where if it begins to feel unmanageable or things are like just again not getting done, at what point do you decide like, okay, I need some help with this? And then how do you advocate for yourself with it? Because that's the other thing. I feel like at our age, if we say or go to the doctor and we say, you know what, I think I have ADD. I'm having a really hard time staying focused. I'm not completing things. Most times they'll ask, are you feeling depressed? Like, is it just functional depression maybe? Are you experiencing anxiety? And they always want to immediately peg something else on us, even if we're saying, no, this is what it is. But culturally, to other races, it will be explored. And so I've been seeing a lot of that too.
Do you see a lot of adults come and say something? I can't focus. Like these examples. These are also real life
Yes.
that people adults are coming to you like.
So adults come to me with it. And again, it's like, is this anxious behavior, right? Because I'm always like on to the next thing. And so they're looking at the inability to focus as just being anxious. I have social anxiety. I have this, I have that, right? And naturally, people always try to diagnose themselves. But then the more I meet with them and the more I talk to them about it, or even if there is some resemblance of depressive behaviors, I have them kind of jog their memory and go back to like behaviors that they exhibited as a kid. Think about being in school and how long would it take you to get through an activity. And I use the example because I'm very transparent and I say, when I was younger, I would always say I work best under pressure. Right. And again, that was viewed as a badge of honor. And it's not that I work best under pressure. I was procrastinating because
Pretty
my
much.
mind was
Yeah.
everywhere else.
Yes. Yes. And I've been I can say that's me too. I work best under pressure. And the truth of the matter is I probably do. No, I do work best under pressure. But we work best under pressure because we know we have no more ample time.
No more time.
We have no more time. Time is up. So now we have no other choice
But
but
to do it.
to do it. And now we are steadfast, locked in doing it. Now it's done.
Right.
And now it's done. Is there something wrong with that from like a
It
therapist?
is because it's unnecessary pressure. It's unnecessary stress, right? I am going to get it done. And so one of my professors just said too, he's like, y'all don't have to be weekend warriors. Most post grad curriculums, right, or programs, it's like everything is due on Sunday by 11:59.
Right.
Right? And so it's like, okay, I know that I have all week, Sunday to Sunday, to get this stuff done. And instead of chunking the time out, or even if you put it on your calendar to do it, and you find yourself doing everything Saturday night or Sunday morning, and now you're like working against the clock, like, okay, it's 9:30. Okay, right? And then you got a 20-page paper due that you had all week to pace yourself. But you chose to, whether you chose or not, right? Because I think when life is showing up for us, like sometimes it is out of our
It's
control.
hard. It gets hard
And
and
so,
challenging.
but do we have to be weekend warriors for everything?
Everything. And why do we procrastinate? Why do we wait to the last minute when we have enough time to, get things done? And from an expert, that's probably something that I would want to, get across to clients who come in and, get them to say time management, time management. It's
Yes.
all about time management. Time management is so important to our stress levels.
It is. It
So
is.
important to our stress levels and our anxiety.
And to have accountability partners, right? And so it's like, if I say, Cherise, all right, for the last semester, I've been a weekend warrior. I have to do something different, right? Going back to rebuilding, I need to do something different. And so I'm asking you, I'm soliciting, can you help keep me accountable? What does that look like? Okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to
I
map
like
this
that.
out, right? So, okay, on Monday, I need you to commit an hour and a half to whatever that end result is. On Wednesday, I need you to commit an hour and a half, right? And I think when people can start tracking things and they can look at it and they can see it, by the time Sunday comes, you feel relieved because it's like, whew, I could really like camp out on the couch. I can start my dinner and not have to worry
Yes.
about hammering away in front of the
Yes.
computer.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, do you want to feel more of this or do you want to feel more of that tension and stress that comes with waiting until the very last minute? And I think that's how we peel back the layers of procrastination, but to be held accountable and those constant check-ins.
Okay. So I have, let me see. What emotional challenges comes with undiagnosed ADD?
Emotional challenges, I would say feeling like a failure, right? Feeling like I'm just not capable. The constant feeling of I want to be a perfectionist, but I'm working extra hard at trying to make sure that everything is where it needs to be, which is then exhausting, right? And so it's like, okay, how can and then you might freeze, right? So it's like, I know I have all of these things to do, but I can't even get started. I can't even rev my engine. And I know personally, like, there have been times where I'm like, all right, I'm going to lock in. And I sit down at the computer. An hour goes by, 2 hours go by, and I go to get up, and I've only done a paragraph.
It's like you have to be mentally in the right mindset to lock in, whatever that looks like. I'm just sitting here thinking like all of my experiences relate back to college. I know we're just naturally just keep talking about college because I think that is one of the main,
Yeah.
times where people feel like I need to focus because they're in school, you know what I mean? Outside of just handling everyday to do responsibilities or work and life and things like that. But college, school is something where the stigma of ADD is just always thrown around. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I got this to do. I got to write a paper. I got to, 20-page paper to write dissertations. And I got this class and I have to do this. So I'm really trying to put myself in the shoes of other people, you know what I mean? So I can, think outside the box and look outside the box to see it from a different angle of
So
how
think
it
about
might.
work, right? Think about work and deadlines. Think about just being a part of a team. Think about what is it? Like if I'm doing data entry or something, productivity, that's the word I was looking for. And I know I have to meet this mark in order to be productive. That means I need to be able to focus to a certain extent to be able to get this done. If I'm in a call center, I need to be able to focus and listen to what the person on the other end of the phone is saying so that I can meet this quota, so that I can assist them in the way. But if they're talking and it starts to sound like the girl from Charlie Brown, wah, wah, wah,
Yes,
right?
yes,
It's like, okay,
exactly.
so I'm zoning out. Now I'm
Okay,
working even harder,
okay.
right? So we can apply it to a lot of different things. It could be that your kid comes to you and needs help with a reading assignment. You know how, like, especially when kids are younger and it's like, you read a page, I read a page
Yes.
to help with their comprehension. If I can't even recall what you just read, and then you're like, well, mommy, did I? And you're like, can we read that again? And think about having to constantly reread, constantly having to like
Yes.
go back,
Yes. Yes.
so all of that.
Okay. So this is where I want to connect with the viewers out there who you might know that you might be fully aware that you have a hard time staying on track, staying focused, whether it's in motherhood, whether it's at the job, and it might affect your productivity, which then affects your confidence. This is for you. This is definitely for you. These are the people who we want to make sure we are hitting. These are the people who we want to make sure we are, talking to, because we want you to go out there and seek the help. You know what I mean? It's okay, to go out there and find the therapist
Yeah.
so you can seek the strategy so you can get by day to day, so you can pause, reverse, and drive with clarity, because I definitely know what it's like, this being all over the place, this being entangled in your brain, in your mind, and then feeling like now you have to act. Now you
Yes.
gotta, put those thoughts into actions, and then you like, what?
And it can affect your relationships.
It can affect your
You
relationships
know what I
now.
mean? Because it's like, babe, I just told you, and you're like, I don't remember you saying that. You know what I mean? So it is so many
So many
different,
different
yeah, like so many
facets.
different levels to it, facets. Like, yeah, so it's like it's not just one area of your life. And I think that's when you know, like, okay, something has to change. And getting to the point of something needing to change, I tell people not to shy away from medication now. You know what I mean? Like, give it a chance and see how you feel. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean that, you're less than because you get to a point where you're like, maybe I do need a little nudge,
Right.
and
Yes. Little
so
help.
kind of see where that takes you,
Yes. Yes.
because for me, I've always joked about being ADD, right? And I remember years ago when I worked in child mental health, I went to one of the psychiatrists. I'm like, Dr. Ken, can we develop environmental ADHD? Think about it. We live in such a fast paced environment. We are not
Absolutely.
robots,
Absolutely.
and so it's like being in child and family mental health in an agency, it's like our caseloads were like 45 people. Like, I know
Ooh.
now I can't see 45 people mentally. I can't take on the woes
All
of
that
45
baggage.
people
Yes.
day in and day out. And
Yes.
so everything was so
Yes.
fast paced. So I'm going to her, and so we laughed and we joked about it. But then once I stepped away from that, and I'm like, this is a real thing that nobody is talking about. And then when I went back to school this last time, I made me an appointment, and I'm like, yo, something is off here. Like, I need help to stay focused. And I gave it a try myself.
And
So
did you resort to this like regular the strategies, or did you took
I
went to
tried
medication?
everything before I made the decision. So the same approaches I would take with my clients.
You
I'm
did the same
like,
thing.
okay, try this, try that, try this. But when I found that I was freezing more than I was pushing through, I was like, maybe I need to explore this, even if it's just so that I could get through school. Right. And so I think that's the other misconception that people feel like, okay, if I need to explore medication, does it now become a lifelong thing? It doesn't have to.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And I think individuals know what they need when they need it. But just
Exactly.
really being honest with yourself about
Exactly.
where you are and not worrying about the judgment, because I think we were kind of cultivated in an era where people would be judged for needing medication. People would be judged even for going to therapy,
Even for going to therapy. Yes.
and I
Yep.
feel like since COVID,
Yep.
therapy has become like more
Popular.
accessible. It's become more popular, even in like the Black and Hispanic cultures. Like, they're more open to it now, because before it was go to church, go up to that altar, get some oil.
Get some oil, fall out. Let them
Yes,
pray over you.
yeah.
Let them pray over you. And it's funny because me and Ed, we were just at an event this past Sunday, Pajamas and Visions, and the theme of the event was the digital media and AI and this current culture today, and how the benefits and the disadvantages of it. And speaking on mental health awareness and COVID, I also believe that in a good way, social media has brought more light on
Yeah.
to mental awareness, mental this mental therapy in itself. So it's not so much shunned upon,
Yeah.
just like everything else. Like even self-care, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Everybody is into, self-care and taking care of themselves and eating the right foods and making sure they use all natural, organic, and all these
Yeah.
type of things. So social media has I believe has helped shine some light on mental health.
Hmm.
So women are not ashamed, because I have it here in my notes, like, why do so many women internalize shame around it? You know what I mean? I have that
Hmm.
written down, and you just naturally spoke on it, because
Yeah.
I guess it's just a real thing.
Well, and I
Like,
think too, like when we think about generations, right? Like a lot of us still have like multi-generational families. And so I always use this, and my mom knows I say this all the time. Like I remember a period in life where I was like, I'm struggling. She came over my house one day and she was like, "Girl, why you got all this laundry all over the place?" Right? And I'm like, "I'll get to it, girl." Like, and so I'm saying to her, I'm like, I said, I think I am dealing with a little bit of depression. And her response was, "There's nothing wrong with you. You just being lazy." Right. And so as time went on, I'm like, "No, I do this for work. Like, I know exactly what it is." And she's like, you need to get yourself together. Like, you've never had this much laundry. And I'm like, that's how I know something is
right,
off.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
Because I do have this much laundry. Like, this is a real thing. You see it,
right.
and I share that story all the time because I think it's important for people to, like, again, be truthful with self, and everybody around you won't understand it. But if you know things are looking different and feeling different for yourself, it's your responsibility to kind of tackle it head on, right? And so while that was the conversation, it also helped her to learn more about it too. And now, like, and that was years ago, but then fast forward, thinking back, I'm like, okay, while it mimicked or mirrored depression, it was that I was overwhelmed, right? And just overwhelmed with responsibilities and everything that I needed to do. And had I explored ADD at that time, it probably could have been dealt with differently versus me feeling like, oh, I got to push through and I got to fight like hell to get out of this space. So I think those are important conversations. And I think, like you said, with social media, the more we can be vocal and transparent
Yes.
about our
Yep.
experiences, it lets other women, other young girls kind of know, like, okay, like that's the strong friend. But if she's dealing with this, then it's not so bad.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's what I was feeling when you were sitting here explaining. Like, it was a point in time when I had laundry all over the place, and I had to step back and hold on. I treat people who go through these same things, so I
Yeah.
know what's going on. And I also like the fact that you said we need to basically pay attention. We need to pay attention to our bodies. We need to pay attention to how we feel, because that is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that is the answer to some
Yeah.
of the question marks that we have internally. Like, why am I doing this? Why do I feel
Mm-hmm.
like this? Why am I behaving this way? Why am I acting this way? Why am I feeling like this? And those are times that we really need to sit back and sit down and sit still for a moment.
Yeah. And it's okay to pause.
Pause. Yes.
Like,
Pause.
yeah, it doesn't make you
Pause.
lazy if
Yes.
you need a day of rest,
Pause.
because again, culturally, rest, what's rest? You rest when you die, right? Isn't that what's always said to us? So it's like, no, I want to rest while I'm living. Like, I want to be able to
Yes.
enjoy this
Yes.
life,
Yes. Yes.
and I want to be able to move through this life with ease. And one of the sentiments I always say, Michelle and I had went on a cruise one time, and it was just the two of us. And we woke up one day and I was like, girl, this feels good. Like, just to move with the wind. And we know, like, the wind is almost still, right? So it was like, it became this inside joke between the two of us. But now I really understand what that means. Like, to be able to move with the wind, I don't have to move in a fast speed at all times. I
At all
can be
times.
intentional about
Yes.
slowing down.
Yes.
I can gain clarity and I can really focus on what I need to focus on if I'm in a space of rebuilding. And I feel like that's constant.
Constant. Yes.
Just
Always
like change is
rebuilding.
inevitable,
Yes.
rebuilding is constant.
Constant. Yes. We
Yeah.
never stop rebuilding. It is constant. It is consistent. And I lost my train of thought. Um, Lord, everybody lost my train of thought.
It's necessary.
I lost my train of thought. It was just what I was going to piggyback off of what you were saying, basically, when you said going
Moving
on a
with the
cruise.
wind.
Oh, being able to pause and rest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that pause, that rest. Because what I've noticed is we always want to complete the to-do list.
Always.
We always want to get to the bottom of the to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
But once I realized that the to-do list, and this is, you know, my own personal experience, once I realized that the to-do list does not really end,
Never.
okay, I'm cool with that. It's not going to end. I just need to keep up with it.
Yeah.
I just need to keep up with it. And then also, some of the things that we are rushing and being overwhelmed with to do, what is the rush?
What's the rush? Oh, well, I've learned, honey, because I go to sleep.
What's the rush?
Like, I will go, if I am tired, I'm going to sleep when I'm tired. I don't feel the need to push through in my day anymore. You know, it's like, nah, I'm going to bed. I could go to bed at 6:30 because I'm up super early, right? And I think that's the other part we don't give ourselves grace. And so it's like, if I'm up at 4 or 5 o'clock every morning and I have a long day of like just doing the work with everybody else, I'm tapped out at the end of the night.
Yes,
And
easily.
so if I'm
Easily.
tired at 6:30, I don't care if the sun is still shining. I'm going to bed. You know, and I don't feel guilty. And you know how sometimes people be like, it's too early or why you no, I'm listening to my body and this is what I need. You do what you need, you know, and even if we have plans, I don't feel guilty about canceling anymore. Like there was a time where I would find myself like my schedule would be so packed and I would have like 5 events and I'm like, okay, well, I'll go here for an hour and a half. I'll go there and I'll do this and I would show up at everything, but you can't sustain that, you know? And so it's like whoever gets me first, and if I put it on the calendar, then that's where I'm showing up.
Right.
After that, everybody else, I'm like, I'm sorry,
Right.
but I already have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that comes with being
Age.
I didn't want to
It
say
does.
it. I
It
didn't want to
does.
say it, but you know, a lot of things come with, you know, a lot of tolerance, you know,
Yeah.
comes with, you know, getting older and it's just you just know what's important. You know what's
Yeah.
important, you know what's not important, you know, and you just listen.
And
It
it's
is
no
what it
love
is.
lost.
Yes,
right?
it's no love
and
lost.
so I think it's that.
It's no love lost.
Yeah.
So if we could sum this up to help, you know, some viewers out there, some people out there who feel like, you know, they can really relate to, you know, just being overwhelmed. You can relate to feeling like, and I know we all can relate to this. This isn't like a you thing or a them thing. This is a us thing. We all can relate to, you know, just being all over the place sometimes. Sometimes we good at, you know, managing the list and sometimes it's out of whack, right? But when it's out of whack, too much of not in order, then that's when we know we need to kind of put some strategies or some type of techniques in place so we can get things done. And that's only if you are trying to. That's
Yeah.
only if you want to. That's only if you want to, you know, live this life of, you know, in the wind. In the wind, because we can still be in the wind while everything is still blowing. We can still learn how to be in the wind. And that's what I like about rebuilding my life, because we so intentional about rebuilding our life. This work is nothing to me.
Yeah.
Like, quite honestly, like I do suffer from symptoms from ADD, but guess what I know how to do? Get myself right back on track easily. Easily. I know what to do because I'm serious about not being overwhelmed. I'm serious about not letting anything stress me that does not have to stress me, because it's already enough going on out there. It's already enough going on. So we want you guys to be able to, you know, take home and take control of your mindset and of your life and get it in order. Start by this, for one, purchasing the Rebuild Your Life journal and planner. It will definitely help you get it in order. But hey, like, give them how long we got left, y'all? How many minutes we got left, Watts? 30. You on 30? 25. Okay, cool. We good. We making good time.
Okay.
So we still got a couple minutes left. Is there anything else like that we can kind of like dive into with ADD, maybe ADHD, that will help people out there just get a light bulb to go off for them? Because I feel like there are a lot of you out there who really want to get up and jump. You know what I mean? Y'all want to get up and jump into it, but something is holding you back and you just don't know which way, which direction to move in. And ADD could be the reason why you stuck.
It could be the reason why you're stuck. I think again, just being vocal about it, like being vocal about your experiences, talking to your friend groups, even to start. Like you don't have to mask in front of the people that love you. Like you should be able to be vulnerable with your friend group. And if you can't be honest with your friend group, then you're not being honest with yourself, right? And vice versa. If you can't be honest with yourself, you can't be honest with your friend group. So if you know or feel that things are kind of spiraling or that it's out of whack, it's like, yo, Cherise, I've been dealing with this for X number of weeks. It's different for me. I don't know what this is. Even as a friend, when you see something, it's not being judgmental, but Eb, I noticed that, when we were on the phone, you done did 10 different things. Like, have you completed any of them? And that's how we start to plant the seeds for
Right, right,
awareness, right? It's
right.
not, girl, oh my God, you running all over the place. You like the Tasmanian devil, right? And so it's
I
like,
like that.
I want you to
I
pay
like that.
attention, right? And I
I like
think
that.
that's how we learn to be self-aware when we think about the accountability partners. And it's like, be slow to take offense, right? Because if you're my friend, I know you're not going to do anything to hurt me. I know that you're not going to do anything to subject me to a certain level of humility,
Right.
right? As much as trying to pull me up and
Right.
to say, hey, I
Support you.
noticed that these things are
Yep.
happening, right? And one thing in my friend groups is always like, I'm not trying to be your therapist. I'm just saying, like, pay attention, because that's another thing, when we're in this field, it's like everybody thinks we're trying to assess them, everybody. And I'm like, it's not even that, but
I'm not your client.
yes, but if I notice something,
I'm
I
gonna
have a
tell you.
responsibility to say
Exactly.
something, right?
Exactly.
And I'm not saying you got to sign up and come talk to me because I don't want you because you're my friend, right? I'm going to refer you to somebody if you feel like that's what you need. But I think just not feeling the need to hide behind who you are. Like, I'm going to be myself in whatever room I show up in, right? And so I think like helping people to understand how important that is because that's how you get what you need.
You heard it, guys. You heard it. So don't stay silent. Don't take it so lightly as a joke. You know what I mean? We say it a lot jokingly, but in the jokes, we can still very much be serious and hold ourselves accountable and hold our friends and partners accountable too. Because just think about how much we could get done, how much I could get done, you could get done, they could get done by just being that accountability partner, by just making sure they stay on task and vice versa. You know what I mean? A lot of us talk about dreams and goals all the time, not even realizing that one of the main reasons why we cannot check off some of these dreams and some of these goals is because we just can't stay focused
And there's no follow through.
and there's no follow through. And one thing I can tell you guys, start small. If you feel like this touches you and this reaches you, start small. First of all, take accountability. Say, yes, that's me. I can relate. And I'm talking about from the smallest things that we talked about to maybe some of the more higher level things that we talked about, because we talked about from this the dishes to laundry, but this might trickle over into your relationships. This might trickle over into your career. This can trickle over into other really important parts of your life that are holding you back. You know what I mean? That is disrupting your peace and, causing you not to, move forward. So take that time out. Be real with yourself. You know what I mean? Rebuilding your life is definitely about, being brutally honest with yourself, but there's nothing wrong with being brutally honest with yourself. I don't want to keep looking in the mirror myself like,
Girl,
there she
here we
go
go.
again.
Again.
There you go again. You know what I mean? There you go again. So I really hope that you guys take this and like take this episode and all the information and be like, man, we should have been talking about this.
Yeah, and I also wanted to add too, like, in paying attention to the kids, right? Because now that we're aware, and now that we know that there is like this huge space where minority women are misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed, right? Paying attention to your younger children, like paying attention to your female children, because again, when boys are acting out a certain way, immediately we want them tested.
Yep.
and we don't get our girls tested, right? And so I'm not even saying that to say, well, start them on medication at a younger age, but maybe they really do need different supports in place. What is it that my kid needs in order to really survive? And I think about, again, like just the pressures for young girls of being perfect, getting those A's and B's and staying on top of everything, right? Again, just talk with her about like what you're seeing, what she's feeling even. And not to immediately look at it as though she's being defiant or she's being lazy, because kids will freeze just like we will freeze as adults.
Right.
Kids
Right.
procrastinate just like
Right.
we procrastinate as
Absolutely.
adults. So I think now that there's more talk about women with ADD and ADHD, like being able to kind of tap in a little earlier in life, like when we think about prevention, right? So it's like you don't have to struggle until you get to college or until
Exactly.
you after you get out of
Yes.
high school to say
Yes.
I need something more, when it could have been addressed earlier on.
Yeah, and that's so unfortunate. And I feel like that's what happened with us. When we were younger, growing up. I, Even if we did hear the term ADD or ADHD, it was like, ew. You know what I mean? It was like one of them things like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then as we get older and older and older, we're like, oh shoot, I got that too. Like I'm suffering from it too.
Yeah.
But who knew? Who knew?
I think the other thing too, growing up, a lot of like mental health stuff was never a black people thing, right? We thought only white people went to
On top
therapy.
on
We thought
back
white
to
people
that.
only
Yep.
had diagnosis,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
now that we know better, we can do better, because it's a people thing, like you started out
Yes.
saying. It's a
Yep.
humanistic thing.
Yes.
And so if we, again, just give ourselves a little bit of grace, we have to focus on unlearning all of the stuff that we've been taught over
Taught.
the years, and again, even historically, like there's so much that we have to unlearn because of the way or what we were rooted in.
Sheesh. 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 Well, I really enjoyed this topic. I really enjoyed getting the information out there and putting it on the table, because this is something that we don't always talk about. And we want to continue to deliver more, mental health topics and give you information that's going to help you just in your everyday life that you just might feel like, is this not normal? And it really much so is normal. Do not look at yourself as different. Don't feel ashamed. You know what I mean? Don't feel like you are, not worthy, or something is even, wrong. Like your brain isn't broken. It just might be wired with like a little different rhythm. But we all are. Like we all really are. And
Yeah.
I think we all suffer. We all
I do
suffer with a
too.
level, some
Yeah.
sort of mental health.
And I think some of the most
Diagnosis.
intelligent people struggle with it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So it's like
yes.
when people say like the way that your brain works, or it is okay to be wired differently, because that's what makes us unique.
Exactly.
Right. But it is that it's like, okay, I'm being flooded with all of this information, and how do I channel it? And one of the things, I'll leave you with this too, I always tell people when they're like, I don't fully understand what that is. A psychiatrist years ago said to me, she's like, imagine going into a room, so like a room with four walls, and there are TVs from the ceiling to the floor on each of the four walls. Every TV is on a different channel, and there's no remotes, but you're standing in the middle of that room. Can you imagine what that would do to your nervous system?
Well, y'all know I got patience because I do that. It seems like I'm in that space every day when I walk into the daycare. Like you sometimes feel like that. You know what I mean? You got a kid crying over there, they're yelling over here, somebody saying something over there, somebody saying something behind you. So it really takes it's like a survival skill. But I get
It is.
I get what you saying.
And like you said, as an
I get what you
adult,
saying.
I know when to hit the pause button. So
Yes.
imagine being
A
a
kid.
teenager or a little kid,
Yes.
and all of this stuff is channeling around you. What do I do with that? So I think it's important that we model for them.
That was a good one. I kind of interrupted with my own
No, it's
little
okay.
experience, but that whole example, that's what it feels like. Us as adults, we should have the maturity and enough intellect to, get ourselves back on track. But kids can't do that. Being in a room surrounded by TVs, each TV is on a different channel, different sounds. That's the equivalent of what ADD might feel like to a kid or a child or a teenager. We definitely have to continue
Yeah.
to keep that in the forefront so we can be able to give, our family members, the kids that we interact with, the children that are in our space, give them grace. You know what I mean? That's why child development and behavior sciences is so
Yes.
important. It's so important. So I think we are coming basically to the end of this episode. It was all about women, humans, and ADD. It's not about being ashamed. It's nothing that you have to be ashamed of. We all have experienced it. You're just not talking about it in a serious manner, in a serious way. So if you want to get into that drive after you pause and reverse, make sure you are honest with yourself. Make sure you are realistic with yourself and take some of these signs and signs and symptoms seriously. Just don't keep joking about it. You know what I mean? Seek help. Seek some type of structure because a lot of times that's all it really takes is you implementing structure and being intentional about it. And how you implement structure, like we said, purchasing the Rebuild Your Life planner. You don't have to purchase my planner, but purchase a planner. Start writing stuff down. Um, and start small. You know what I mean? If you do have a big laundry list of to dos, start out with one to do a day or
Yeah.
two things a day, so you don't feel all over the place. So your mind isn't all wired, all crazy, and in this whole matrix type of state. So you can kind of control your thoughts and keep a balance. And like we said, what's gonna happen if you don't get it done?
Right.
What's going to happen if you don't get it done? A lot of the things are not priority. You know what I mean? And that's another thing about, controlling the ADD symptoms. Prioritize your steps. Prioritize your to-dos. You know what I mean? Prioritize them and just be intentional about it. So again, I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you was able to take away some information and apply it to your own life or to someone your kids. Thank you again for coming on here with us
Absolutely.
today. And stay tuned for the next episode of Steeltoes to Stilettos. I thank you guys for joining in. I am your host and your favorite confidence coach, Cheris Monique, and we are out.